So what goes into a home's price? It seems simple, right? It's just a figure on the screen while you're scrolling Zillow. But a home's true value is never just a number. It's the story of that home. It's told in the context of its desirability, its location, its uniqueness, and the seller's confidence all rolled into a single dollar amount. But unless you count what buyers are willing to pay for that home, you're only getting half the story. And right now, the story being told by home prices here in Huntsville, Alabama, well, it's a little confusing. And that's largely because, on one hand, you have national forecasting models like Zillow's predicting a potential price drop of 1.2% for our area. But on the other hand, Huntsville keeps winning awards, our population is booming, our economy is one of the strongest in the nation, and it feels like everyone wants to move here. So what's the real story? Are you, as a potential homebuyer, about to buy at the very peak of a bubble, or are you getting in on the ground floor of a rising market? To answer those questions, what we really have to ask is Huntsville overpriced? That's the question we're going to answer today. Hi, I'm Cameron Walker, the broker and owner of Cameron Walker Realty, located right here in Huntsville, Alabama. We're a boutique brokerage focused on helping individuals and families move to the Huntsville area. And my mission with this channel is to give you accurate and timely information so that you can make an informed decision when it comes time to make your move. And today, I'm going to give you recent market data as we take a deep dive into Huntsville's value proposition. It's important that we answer the question, is Huntsville overpriced? And that we explain the market dynamics that go along with that answer. So let's get into it. When we begin to talk about price, we first have to start by talking about people, because at its most fundamental level, housing demand is all about how many people need a place to live. And people are definitely coming to Huntsville in droves. We average about 18 new residents per day. And that's an increase over what we saw in the previous decade. In the 2020 census, our metro showed that it grew by almost 18% over the previous decade. And since then, the pace has only accelerated. This constant influx of new residents creates a powerful organic demand for housing that provides a strong floor for the entire market. But here's the crucial part. It's not just the quantity of people moving here. It's also the quality of the jobs that they're moving here for. Huntsville's economy isn't built on things that change with consumer taste. It's not primarily driven by retail or tourism. Our economy is built on the bedrock of long-term federal contracts for things like space exploration, missile defense, and national intelligence. We have the U.S. Army's Redstone Arsenal, which is a city unto itself. It has 45,000 employees. We also have NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, the birthplace of rockets that took us to the moon, and we also have a rapidly growing FBI presence right here on the Arsenal as well. And if you've been watching my channel, then you know the market is already starting to feel the effects of Space Command relocating to Huntsville. These government anchors create an entire ecosystem of high-wage, high-skilled jobs. Think about this. Aerospace engineers are employed here in Huntsville at a rate nearly 40 times the national average. That translates directly into high purchasing power because the Huntsville area's median income is about 10% higher than the rest of the U.S. That's really the secret sauce, and it's what makes our market so unique. While other cities may have to worry about the next business cycle or a downturn in consumer spending, a huge portion of Huntsville's economy is funded by the federal budget. Those are long-term appropriations that are far more stable and are typically insulated from short-term market swings. It's a powerful economic insulator that those national forecasting models often overlook. And it's the primary reason why demand for housing here is so incredibly resilient. It's not a speculative, it's built on solid foundation of real jobs, real sustained growth. Okay, economic engine is a V8 roaring at full speed. That should mean home prices are still going to the moon and that we're still in the COVID era frenzy, right? Well, this is where the story gets a little more interesting, because when we look at the actual real world data from this past summer in 2025, we see a definite change in the atmosphere. I'm going to put some metrics up on the screen for you. First, look at the median sales price. It's almost $331,000. The year-over-year change is just 0.6%. That's basically flat. It means the days of rapid double-digit price appreciation are over for now. But let's look at the next line, the average days on market. That means how long it takes to sell a home. That's jumped by over 34% to 51 days. That's a significant slowdown, and homes are just sitting on the market longer than they used to. At the same time, the inventory, which is the number of homes available for sale, is up over 10% from last year. That means there's more choices for more buyers, which means there's less upward pressure on prices. But this last number, it's the most important data point on the entire screen. The percent of list price received. It's now at 98.4%. That means the average home is selling for below its asking price. And when we dig into other data sources, the picture becomes even clearer. One recent analysis showed that over a quarter of all active listings had to implement a price drop just to attract a buyer. And another source showed that nearly 60% of homes ultimately sold for under their original list price. So what does this all tell us? Well, it's not that buyers have disappeared. In fact, the number of closed sales was actually up slightly this August compared to last year. So the demand is still there. What's changed is that buyers are rejecting prices that are just too high. So we have what I like to call a valuation gap. There's a growing disconnect between what sellers think their home is worth based off the memory of that market frenzy over the last few years and what today's buyers facing higher interest rates can actually afford. The market is telling us in no uncertain terms that many sellers are starting with an asking price that is simply too high. Now, navigating this shift can be tricky. You need to know if the house you're looking at is fairly priced and will still move quickly, or if it's overpriced and has been sitting on the market for months. To help you do exactly that, I've created the Huntsville Home Pricing Scorecard, and it's pretty cool if I do say so myself. Basically, it's a custom calculator I created to help determine if a home is underpriced, fairly priced, or overpriced, and it gives you some pointers on how to approach making an offer on a home that falls into one of those three categories. That way, you don't miss out on a deal, or even worse, end up overpaying for a house, which can take you years to recover from. Calculator's on my website, and I've linked to it in the video's description below. And by request, I've added a QR code to the screen for those of you watching on TV. Just point your phone's camera at the white box on the TV and click the link that pops up on your phone screen. That'll take you directly to my website where you can access the scorecard as well. Now, when people say Huntsville, they're usually talking about the whole metro area. But the market isn't a monolith. It's a series of concentric rings, and the cool down we're seeing isn't happening uniformly. From a bird's eye view, it looks more like a ripple effect, as if you had dropped a stone into a pond and Huntsville is where that stone broke the surface. Understanding these rings is key to finding the right balance of price, convenience, and lifestyle for you. Ring 1 is inside the city limits of Huntsville and Madison, since this is really the heart of the region. The biggest pro here is proximity. You're minutes away from the major job centers like Redstone Arsenal, Research Park, and the Medical District. Here you're also surrounded by the highest concentration of shopping, dining, and entertainment. However, that convenience comes at a premium. Madison is our most expensive suburb, with a median price up around $457,000. Huntsville is more moderate at about $330,000, but you're generally looking at smaller lot sizes and older homes at that price. And of course, this is where you'll find the most traffic as the city's infrastructure plays catch up to the population boom. So the trade-off is that you're paying for lifestyle and a shorter commute. If being close to everything is your top priority, then this is your ring. Now let's move outward to the second ring. This is where the classic real estate trade-off really comes into play. By driving a little further out, you could potentially save a lot of money. These are the growing communities that surround the metro core, and we can break them down into two main groups. First, you have the northern arc, towns like Meridianville, Hazel Green, Tony, Harvest, and Newmarket. The number one advantage here is affordability. Median prices in these towns can be significantly lower. And for example, Hazel Green, the median price is around $260,000, and in Tony, it's about $270,000. You're also going to find more new construction, larger lots, and a more rural, spread out feel. The trade-off is the commute. While many of these areas are within a 30-minute drive to major employment centers in perfect conditions, during rush hour traffic, that drive can easily push to 45 minutes, especially when you're trying to get to Redstone Arsenal or Research Park. You'll also be more car dependent here. Shopping and dining options are more limited, and that requires you to drive into Huntsville or Madison if you want more variety. Then to the southeast, you have Owens Crossroads. This area offers a fantastic balance. It's nestled in a beautiful valley with great views and access to outdoor recreation, and it's known for having newer, larger homes and for having a traditional suburban vibe. Now, the con for living in Owens Crossroads is it's not necessarily a budget option. The median price in the main zip code here is about $425,000, which is starting to rival Madison. And the average commute time is about 30 minutes, which is great if you work downtown or in southeast Huntsville, but it can be a longer haul if you're going to the Arsenal or you work in Madison. So the trade-off in Ring 2 is you're passing up a shorter commute for more space, a newer home, or a more affordable lifestyle. So if Ring 2 is the right fit for you, then the real question is, which direction do you want to move? Finally, the ripple effect is most visible in the third ring. These are the satellite cities like Athens and Decatur. And as buyers get priced out of rings 1 and 2, they expand their search into places like these. These buyers are, by definition, more price sensitive, which in turn means they're more heavily impacted by rising interest rates. So when the market cools, these outlying areas feel it more acutely. So if housing demand lowers, that leads us into a buyer's market, and it's more likely to happen in these areas first. If that happens, it's often a preview of what's going to happen in the city core. Now, if you like market breakdowns like these, then do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It's just a small thing that tells the YouTube algorithm that this is valuable information, and it helps other people find it who are trying to make a smart move as well. It's a small thing you can do that really helps the channel. So now we've seen the what. The market is cooling. It's creating ripples across the metro area. But if we really want to understand what's happening, we have to look at the why. And the answer is simple, powerful, and unavoidable. It's just simple math. For the first time in a long time, the average family, the numbers just don't add up like they used to. There's a fantastic metric called the Housing Affordability Index. The way it works is simple. Think of 100 as the magic number. If the index is at 100, it means families earning the median income for the area can afford a mortgage on the median priced home. For years, Huntsville's been well above 100, meaning it was an affordable place to live. But as of this August, for a single family home in Madison County, that index has fallen to 89. So we've crossed that line. This is the clearest signal the market can send. It means the median income household can no longer afford the median priced home. We call this the affordability ceiling. It's the mathematical brake pedal that's being applied to the entire market. Now, the market does have a built-in release valve. It's called renting. There's another financial ratio that helps determine if it's smarter to buy or rent in a given city. Right now in Huntsville, that price to rent ratio is telling a lot of people that renting is cheaper, more rational financial choice. When buying homes becomes significantly more expensive than renting, a portion of the potential home buyers simply step out of the market and step into apartments. This reduces the pool of buyers, which is another layer of downward pressure on home pricing. And we can see this affordability crunch hitting the entry-level market the hardest. Just look at townhomes and condos. In August, the median sales price for a condo was down a whopping 12% compared to last year, and pending sales were down over 50%. And this is the canary in the coal mine. When first-time buyers and those looking for the most affordable options are priced out, it creates a bottleneck for the whole system. It's the clearest evidence that the market has hit a wall, not of demand, but of affordability. So the resale market has hit this affordability ceiling. It's a standoff between seller expectations and buyer budgets. There's another part of our market that's playing by a completely different set of rules, and that's new construction. While existing homeowners are often locked into their price, big builders have a secret weapon they're using aggressively right now to fight back against higher interest rates, namely incentives, and specifically interest rate buy-down incentives. And here's how it works. A builder will partner with their preferred lender and pay a lump sum of cash up front to buy down the interest rate for the home buyer. Sometimes these buy downs are temporary, and sometimes they're for the life of the loan. This isn't a different type of loan. It's the builder essentially prepaying some of your interest to make the monthly payment more affordable, and the impact can be dramatic. If we look at that median priced home of around $330,000, these builder buy downs can drop the average payment by up to $250 per month. That's like getting a $3,000 per year pay raise after taxes. And the data shows this strategy is working. In the first quarter of 2025, while the overall market was rebalancing, new construction sales were booming. They accounted for well over a third of all home sales in Madison County. This tells us these builder incentives aren't just a small gimmick, that they are actually a major force reshaping our market. They are successfully pulling buyers off the fence and solving that affordability problem that the resale market is struggling with. It's a critical piece of the puzzle for anyone trying to understand where the opportunities are in today's market. Okay, so we've looked at the unstoppable of Huntsville's powerful insulated economy. We've met the immovable object of the affordability ceiling, and we've just uncovered the wild card of new construction incentives. So where does that leave us? Let's answer the question we started with. Is the Huntsville housing market overpriced, like a bubble that's about to burst? Well, based on its economic foundation, the population growth, the high wage jobs, the federal investment, the answer is no. The demand is real, it is stable, and it's not going anywhere. But are many of the individual homes currently for sale in the Huntsville market overpriced? The data says yes, absolutely. The days on market, the price drops, the sale to list ratio all prove it. Sellers are still holding on to expectations from the peak of the market in 2022, but buyers are living in the financial reality of 2025. So here's the verdict. Huntsville's not in a bubble. However, it is rebalancing. It's in a necessary and healthy period of price correction, where the resale market is forcing seller expectations to meet the new reality of buyer affordability. So what does this mean for you? Well, for sellers, it's a reality check. Strategy has to change. Proper pricing from day one is more critical now than ever. But for savvy buyers, this is a window of opportunity. It's a chance to enter a fundamentally strong market with more choices, more time to think, and more negotiating power than we've seen in years. And for those considering new construction, the incentives on offer right now present a powerful way to bypass that affordability crunch. My mission with this channel is to give you this level of deep, accurate, and timely information so you can make the best possible decision for you and your family. If you want more analysis like this, then make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss my next video. And at the end of the day, you can't make a bad choice moving to this area. It's an amazing place to live and work. And if you've got questions about making your move to Huntsville, then give me a call. My contact information is always in the video description below. Thanks for watching.